Hey, it's VK, world's worst goth, metal, and alternative YouTuber. So I am going to absolutely speedrun this video. I'm supposed to be streaming right now, and yeah, I do a weekly New Music Monday stream on Twitch, in which I listen to a bunch of new releases from bands of varying genre, age, and popularity. So at the end of each month, I end up finding myself having feelings for, against, or neither about said album releases, and I like to share the ones that I liked the most with you lot. The last few months I have been dropping the ball, been back at work, had COVID, things have been a lot. Everything that I mention gets a thumbs up from me. I'm not going to give like a crazy amount of information on each release. I just want to mention them just so you know about it in case there's something that you missed or forgot about or just didn't get around to checking out and just need the reminder. Yeah, all band links I will put in the description as well, so if you want to check them out. Yeah, I'm going to make your life easier a little bit. Because we're playing catch up and there is so much to speak on, I will be doing like kind of two dumps on YouTube. Yeah, totally allowed, right? We used to have videos like that, hey? Do you remember? No, shut up me. Yeah, there will be like a goth adjacent, goth, post-punk, darkwave alternative kind of genre dump of albums and releases, and then there will be like a metal and rock and punk and heavier kind of one. There weren't a lot of releases outside of those spectrums this time that I ended up getting around to, so just those two. Let's start with the goth/goth adjacent and post-punk darkwave alternative stuff. Now, first is Screensaver's Expressions of Interest. Screensaver is a Melbourne band, really new band. I think this was their first full release, and I'm seeing them in a couple of weeks live. Very excited for that. Yeah, really good like post-punk kind of stuff, which Melbourne is really good for. Check out Expressions of Interest. I'm really keen on getting one of their new shirts that they posted about, but I've had a lot of bills and shit to deal with. Anyway, next is, don't actually know how to say this, L'Avenir. Anyway, a solo project, I believe, from a dude out of maybe Canada? Could be wrong. Lots of good Canadian stuff coming out lately. You know, Shadow and Reflection. They're like a really nice modern goth band, you know? Or act, or solo project, I don't know. Definitely has like a history of like general like darkwave alternative stuff. This was a really solid album, Shadow and Reflection, get onto it. Next is the Creux Lies album, Goodbye Divine. I thought it was just really well made. That's all I have to say about it. The next is the Neuro Farm's Vampire. I thought it was really good. There was actually a lot that came out that week that was in relation to vampires, I feel like, with a lot of goth bands, which is weird. But this one really stood out to me. It's Vampire with a Y. How do you feel about that? The next is Spectres Hindsight. They're like a post-punk, punkish kind of band. Really want to get my hands on a physical CD from them, but shipping from anywhere that isn't Australia has always been fucked. But right now, it is really rough, man. So I haven't got my hands on a physical yet. I do believe that I have the digital download though. Yes, very big fan of that. I found myself like really bopping. Next up is Shock Friendly, Head Down the Avenue. Shock Friendly is another new Melbourne band. They're kind of like indie-ish side of post-punk, I'd say. Check it out if you'd like to. I only really found out about Shock Friendly a few months ago, just before listening to the album. Oh no, it was a couple months before listening to the album, because I remember waiting for it for a long time and they kind of like didn't release it when they said they were going to. And then did a couple months later. Traitors, Horses in the Abattoir. That was amazing, but Traitors don't really do any wrong. I find myself liking essentially every release that they do. So I was not shocked at all by liking Horses in the Abattoir. Next is Deine Lakaien. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that. But they had a release called Dual Plus. It was really well made. A lot of people during the stream really enjoyed it, so I figured that I would mention it here. Bitumen, I talk about them all the fucking time on this channel, or at least in stream, and I put them in like DJ sets on stream a lot. They are another Melbourne post-punk band. They had Clear Eye Shining come out. Really decent album. They have a heavier song near the end that I really enjoyed, and everything else was quite well made as well. I've been a fan of Bitumen for a long time. Anyone who's kind of heard me talk about bands knows that, and I'm hoping that I get to see them. Oh no, I saw them live maybe a month ago. But I want to see them live again. Be live again. Next is Kontravoid's Faceless. So this is one of those albums that Wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it because I am kind of not super into the EBM-y stuff, but I'm kind of getting more into it in the last few months. I think it's because I've been witnessing a lot of like Twitch streamers, and a lot of them kind of include that sort of stuff, like the EBM or industrial kind of. Actually, we mentioned in stream, Liam mentioned, they mentioned like you could probably listen to the album start to finish in a club and dance throughout the whole thing, because like just banger, 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 banger. Very, very club friendly tunage. Next is a Vain Warr album, Maleficia Carnalia. Vain Warr don't disappoint typically. If you like kind of heavier, dirtier, screamish death rock kind of stuff, then you'll probably really like Vain Warr. Did not disappoint, never disappoints. Great album. Next is Rosegarden Funeral Party. So they did a full covers album of a bunch of artists. I think they did Tears for Fears, David Bowie, a lot. It was a lot. I think they even had like a talk one in there. Yeah, Bowie, Roxy Music, Peter Gabriel, Danny Elfman, Tears for Fears, Talk, Netro, Sparks. Anyway, yeah, lots. And they fucking killed it with every song. Rosegarden Funeral Party create really great original music, and they know how to do a fucking cover. And kudos on the album. Like, have like a really nice 80s, but modern 80s kind of sound, and pulled it off really well. The last one is The Ending Nights, A Landscape to Die. This was a really memorable album, otherwise I would not have put a little red circle next to it to remember that it was memorable. When you go through a lot of albums, if you have a brain like mine, you can forget stuff, even if you really liked it. So I really like that I do these kind of monthly highlight things, and I can kind of take note as it happens what I enjoy. Anyway, let's move on to the metal stuff. So it's mostly in the genres of black metal, death metal, alternative metal, and like atmospheric metal. I think there's maybe rock in there as well. Some of these albums definitely surprised me. I will tell you which ones they are. You'll probably know because they have anything relating to core to it. I have been that guy who has kind of been a dick about core in the past, but I like to, during these streams, listen to stuff that I might not particularly have enjoyed before, just to see if their new album gives me a different feeling. Some of them did. Not necessarily stuff that I'd go out of my way to listen to frequently, but still can appreciate it as being a great album. So let's start with the first. Thulcandra's A Dying Wish I found really interesting. I was honestly expecting to be very bleh, because I hadn't really heard of them, and I just looked at the band and I looked at the stuff that they'd done, and I was like, who knows? But I was pleasantly surprised. So yeah, give that a listen if you have the time. Inverno MCMXCII. So I don't know. I think it's like meant to be like 1992 or something. It's meant to be a year, I know that. Anyway, the album In Extremis. So this is a project by a local Melbourne metal dude, Maurizio, and he released it just by himself. And I thought it was really, really enjoyable, and I think that you probably will too, if you're into kind of death, blackish, not really black, it's like, what does he call himself? Because I bought this album. Yeah, black, death, extreme, melodic kind of stuff. So I guess I was kind of on the money with it. I don't know, just sometimes you make assumption about what people think their own genre is, and I just don't want to be disrespectful to anyone, even though your perception is just as valid as theirs. Anyway, Stormkeep is the next fucking mind-blowing thing. Done it really, really well. Found it brilliant, honestly. I 10 out of 10, I'm pretty sure I ended up buying it. Yes, I did. Yeah, so they're like black metal with a bit of that like medieval kind of stuff that you found a lot in the 90s, kind of. Maybe that's why they refer to themselves as old school black metal, but I suppose that's sort of true. But whenever I think old school black metal, I think like only raw black metal, where everything sounds like it was recorded on a child's device, which is something that I actually do like. But I also like this, and it doesn't sound like that. So, if you want your mind blown, get amongst it. Get amongst it, I reckon. Next is Norse. So Norse are another Australian band. I believe that they're in New South Wales. I have seen them live before. The whole stream was just fucking on board. And I was even tired because I'd been on for a few hours at that point. I'm not a marathon streamer, I've said it before. But I was like, yeah, fuck oath. I was kind of expecting it to be great. Next, Vildhjarta. Yeah. Mastaren under vatten. So, Great album. I was expecting it to be. Everything I'd seen by Vildhjarta before had been up to scratch, and this was no different. So that's really all I'm going to say about it, because I'm already getting there. Next is Helheim. Helheim's Woduridar. You know, I'm actually part of heathen groups, and I still can't. Anyway, fucking amazing. Please check it out if you are into pagan folk extreme kind of stuff, like black metal cross Viking metal, even though I don't consider Viking metal a genre, more just a theme descriptor. If you like that kind of shite, like I do, get amongst it. Next is one of my favorite albums, I think, of the entire year. And some people think it's overrated, some people think it's underrated. I think I am accurately rating it for my own interests. First Fragment's Gloire Éternelle. Holy shit. If you want to hear some amazing bass work, please listen to this fucking album. It's really bass heavy, and you don't see that a lot well, you know? A couple of releases within this time period that I was like, why do you sound like that? Definitely suggest First Fragment's album. Please listen to it. It's like, so they're like a tech metal, like tech death band in origin, right? But this is like something else. They definitely have it. This is one of the Canadian bands I was talking about, by the way. Like, it's tech death, but it's got like a flamenco kind of vibe to it. Like, there is a little acoustic-ish. They're not really acoustics, but like, just listen to it, please. I don't think it's even that long. Like, it's a little bit long, but worth it. Please listen to it. Big ups for this album. I bought it like that night. Just really good musicianship. It's just so well written and like well placed song-wise. Just get amongst it. Next is Zeolite, another Australian band. One of the bands that were kind of not in my general scope of like listening, I guess. This is their album Proselytism or Proselytism. Not sure what the word is or means, but I ended up finding it actually quite to my liking, regardless of the fact that it's kind of like it's like gent and cold related, but I didn't find that it was like too hard into that. So it's kind of more in the death metal realm where I am a bit more comfortable, but there was still the other elements present, but I thought that it was just all really well done, well made, which you love to see. Melbourne band, check out Proselytism by Zeolite if you have the time, because I had actually not been a fan of Zeolite before this album, and now I'm like, if I had the time off work, I'd go see them live. Sure fucking would. And if I didn't like the album, I wouldn't be mentioning it right now. Next is Sarke's All-Seer. So Sarke, I feel like, has members of another famous band. It's got ex-members of Darkthrone, Enslaved, and Cold. So yeah, they are kind of like a supergroup. Fucking amazing. It's like black metal, as you'd expect from the members. Black metal with kind of it wasn't all super black metal. I remember it was like rock meets black metal, but then. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it, just listen to it, okay? It's good. It's nice. It's good music. Next up is Converge's Blood Moon 1. This, I think, was an album that a lot of people this year were waiting on. Sorry if I'm shiny, by the way. It's fucking hot, and I didn't like the way my arms looked, so I chucked a jacket on top. But yeah, this Converge album was really, people were waiting on it. And I don't think it disappointed. Some people thought that it was like, I have quite a few songs, I think, in conjunction with Chelsea Wolfe on this album. And I didn't know how Chelsea Wolfe and Converge would collide, but it's really well. So yeah, give the album a listen to. I'm fairly certain it was quite long, like maybe an hour or longer, but enjoyable all the way through. Next is Ethereal Shroud. So I've been waiting on this album for fucking ages. And yes, this is an Ethereal Shroud. Yes, Ethereal Shroud shirt. I've been a fan of Ethereal Shroud for a long fucking time. So they are like raw black metal cross atmospheric. And unfortunately, Joe, after releasing this, so it's a one-man project, after releasing this, shared that this would be the last Ethereal Shroud album. So this is Trisagion, and it was phenomenal as expected. That said, you're probably not gonna have a lot more albums by these guys coming out, unfortunately. Well, this guy coming out, unfortunately, because he said that he was done. That said, there is another project that he started, I think, a year ago. If you're into like black metal and atmospheric black metal, raw black metal and stuff like that, Ethereal Shroud is great for you. That said, he's started a new thing. Wisp is the project name, and the album is called The Insomniac, and that's kind of like a drone-ish, shoegazy, atmospheric kind of doom thing. I found it really enjoyable as well. But that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about Drasagion, and yeah, another fucking banger of a release. Really sad to see Joe finish up with it, but I'm glad that I got this shit, and I've still got a CD on the way as well. Next up is Noise Trail Immersion's Curia. So I didn't know about Noise Trail Immersion until pretty recently, maybe a few months ago. Can't even remember how I found them, but I think maybe a dude in a black metal group that I'm in, or a metal group that I'm in, mentioned having it as a project, but I don't know. I found out about it somehow, and ended up seeing that Curia was going to come out, and I found it really, really fucking good. So fuck yeah, Noise Trail Immersion. Definitely a great album. I really enjoyed it. Nice one. Next is Malignant Altars that released Realms of Exquisite Morbidity, which is exactly the kind of fucking album title that you'd expect of an extreme metal band, right? Yeah, another really solid album. And that's all I'm going to say about that, because I've been talking for so long, I am so late. Holy shit. Next is Aquilus, that is another Melbourne band. I actually know the guy who created Aquilus personally. Great music, don't think they've ever released anything even remotely unlistenable. So kudos, I was not surprised, but I was elated. Next and last album that I will be mentioning is another one of my favorites. It is Swallow the Sun's Moonflowers. So Swallow the Sun released a full album called Moonflowers that was already absolutely beautiful, but on top of that, they released full album length animated accompaniment to the entire album, and kind of had it go in like chapters per song. So we watched the whole thing on stream, and it was fucking awesome. Big kudos from me. There are a few special mentions for music video and singles that I wanted to say. I really enjoyed the Omni and Gatherum Fortitude music video, the Nightwood Alice in Chains cover video, as well as the cover, fucking nice. The No Jahanam Alzawabea. There was the No Motion and Sun Spectrum collaboration last time. That was really good. Am I like covering my face with a shadow? Oops. And then Ritual Wave's Ritual, which was stuck in my head for fucking months. Thank you for that, Ritual Wave. Genuinely, actually, though.